Hey Hearties, you're listening to the Hearties Hotline, your connection to Hope Valley, hosted by me, Casey, and my friends Caroline and Cammie. A special thanks goes to our friend Brian Bird for letting us use the music on our show. Without further ado, grab a scone from Abigail's and enjoy.
Hello Hearties! Welcome to the Hearties Hotline, your connection to Hope Valley. I am Cammie Clements, the Hooked Hearty, coming to you live from in front of my Christmas tree. Before we get started on the podcast today, and it is a fabulous one, you're not going to want to miss it, I have a special announcement to make. As it is the season of giving, we want to do another giveaway. Thanks to our wonderful and generous friends over at Edify Films, we are doing a giveaway for, drumroll please, a When Calls the Heart Desserts Edition cookbook. So, if you would like to be the proud owner or the proud giver of a When Calls the Heart Desserts Edition cookbook, all you got to do is follow us on Twitter, then click the Rafflecopter link that will drop there. And that's it. If you're already following us on Twitter, all the better. All you got to do is go find the Rafflecopter link and click on it. And that will last from today, December 9th, to Saturday, December 12th. So don't forget, follow us on Twitter at Hearties Hotline and click on the Rafflecopter link, and the winner could be you. All right, let's get to it.
Welcome back, Hearties. Welcome to Hearties Hotline, your connection to Hope Valley. We have a very special guest with us today. This is Mr. Chad Willett, who played Adam Miller. Hi, Chad.
Hello, how are you?
Doing fabulous. How are you?
I'm good as well. I hope you can hear and see me just fine.
Oh, you're doing great. Yeah, I can see you just fine. So tell us, how have you been doing during this whole coronavirus craziness? How have you been with it? Yeah,
well, like everyone else, just trying to make the best of the time, trying to stay positive. It's been a blessing in a lot of ways. So I try to see the positive in things. And to me, it's allowed a lot of time for the family to really get to know each other, especially in those early days of the pandemic when we were really shut in and nobody knew what was coming. And they shut down everything and we all kind of gathered with our loved ones. And then that was a really interesting time, and then as things opened up a little bit more and we started to learn how to live with the pandemic and get out in the world a bit more and try to be safe, then we all tried to, get back to some new normal. And, it's been challenging because it's such a new thing for everyone. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Is the work going to come back?
It's true.
Is everyone going to stay healthy that you're personally involved with? And so, but, my mother's 78 now. So, that's, you always got to think about that as well. So,
yeah, no, I hear you. My mom's 72 and I'm constantly worried. So,
but everyone's healthy and happy in my life. So I have, I'm just really lucky right now.
Oh, that's magnificent. I'm so glad to hear it. Do you have any plans, whether stay in or venturing out for the holidays?
Oh, no. We're staying in. We're not going anywhere. We live on a piece of land that's quite vast. So we don't necessarily need to worry about going somewhere else to try to get some breathing room. We have lots of people around us. So no, we're happy where we're at and we're safe where we're at.
That's magnificent. I'm glad to hear that. All right. So, Chad, let's get to know you a little bit better. How did you get your start in acting? Was it something you always wanted to do, or did it kind of find you?
Well, I think it's both, right? I mean,
oh yeah.
Even if you want to do it, doesn't mean you get to do it. So
sure. Yeah, I know that.
Right. I started pretty early. It was high school. And I just was attracted to the drama department and just was interested in it and took it as just an experiment. What is this thing, compared to going to metalwork or mechanics? I went to drama And I was at a high school that was definitely more focused on woodwork and metal shop and mechanics and stuff. So it was definitely a removed idea than the norm there. So once I discovered it, I went, wow, I like this. And then what ended up happening is I started getting a lot of support from people around me, my family. And really I really attribute that to my success, because if I hadn't had that support, I hadn't someone saying, hey, do what you want to do, and we believe in you and we support you, I wouldn't have gone down that road. I don't think I would have known how to go down that road. So it really comes down to family support. For anybody who's listening out there who, is wondering, if their kid should do this or not do this, well, it is all about just believing in your dreams and supporting the ones you love. So I continued going down that road through high school, doing plays and such, and then got involved in some theater groups outside high school. When I was, 16, 17, I was starting to learn how to act even alongside my high school drama department. And I found an agent at that point, and then just started messing around, being a background performer and some little things at the age of 16 and stuff. And just really enjoyed it. I didn't know what it was, but I was enjoying it. And then, and then my parents graduated from high school, and my parents decided to leave the country and go somewhere else to live. And they asked me if I wanted to come with them. And I was like, no, I want to be an actor. And where you guys are going, I can't act there. So let's, so I decided to just go out on my own. So at age 18, I just moved to Vancouver and just started blindly following this dream of mine, and just put one foot in front of the other, pieced it together, and then I got lucky.
That takes guts.
or ignorance. That takes a lot of guts. Ignorance is bliss too, right? It's like, it's innocence, right? It's just innocence. It's just a drive, and when you're young enough and you have strong dreams, as we do when you're young, those just push you. And you don't have the fears and the of the unknown. You want to get into the unknown. So
right.
Yeah.
What would you say would be your favorite project that you've been involved in overall? Outside, well, let me put it this way. I'm going to ask you what your favorite Hallmark project is, and then what your favorite non-Hallmark project is. So overall, what would you say is your favorite project that you've been involved in that wouldn't be Hallmark?
That wouldn't be Hallmark. That's a great question, because, there's two sides to that question. And it's favorite for, maybe the storytelling and such like that, how the movie was made, who the actors were who you worked with. And then there's the other side of it, which is the personal experience of, where you were, how unique it was and such like that. And
right.
The thing about acting is it gives you a lot of opportunity as a person to experience things in the world you may not get to experience, aside from, the actual acting and being on some TV show or film.
Absolutely.
So there's a couple. I one of them, when I was working on this show called The Cape, and it was 1996, 97, and they moved us to Cape Canaveral, Florida, to shoot, to be an astronaut in this.
Oh, wow.
Shoot. And it was one of my first leads in an American show, that is. I had done some Canadian stuff prior to that, but this was a pretty big show. And I got to be an astronaut and live in Florida for a year and work at NASA and be inside the space shuttle, the actual place, and see like a whole bunch of launches and landings, and go to astronaut parties, and be inside the control rooms and meet the astronauts and the people that just worked at NASA. And it was, I'm so young at this time too, so I didn't really realize how big that was. I'm just going with the flow. You look back at it now and you're like, geez, this was pre 9/11. We had red carpet type treatment where they opened up NASA for us. It was just the biggest program they could possibly have. Like, it was, there's TV shows coming in, they're going to tell a story. and it's promoting NASA on TV, basically. So they gave us the red carpet treatment. And then I had my parents come join me, and I had my parents be able to stick their heads inside the space shuttle, stuff that would never happen if I wasn't doing what I was doing, right? So to me, it's all
right.
Talk about my favorite projects. It's usually around the personal experiences where I got to share it with friends and family. Because the stories come and go, and but those personal memories last forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of my personal non-Hallmark favorites that I have is You and Joan of Arc. Oh. I loved You and Joan of Arc. Yeah, that was a really good one.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, there's another good example of being able to go somewhere really unique. Shooting in the Czech Republic for 2 months, and we traveled all over.
That must have been amazing.
It was amazing. We traveled all over the country, basically touring all the different castles, because that's what the show was about.
Right.
So we had to be in every castle that they had around in the area. So we just went from town to town, shooting in their castles, different scenes, blah, blah. It was just like a little traveling circus of actors. And it was a global cast, too. It was great. It was like English and American and Canadian, and then also Czech Republic and other people coming around. And it was a global cast of people came together and do this beautiful CBS miniseries. So that was pretty unique.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then what would you say is your favorite Hallmark project that you've done?
I've done a lot. And
yeah, you have.
I have to go way back, actually, because I did a Hallmark project that was before this huge Hallmark thing that has happened the last while. I did one, it was the Hallmark Hall of Fame, when Hall of Fame projects were like these massive golden opportunities, and it was CBS.
Yeah.
Hallmark Hall of Fame. It was called The Locket, and it was with Vanessa.
Oh, I've heard of that one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was based on a book, and it was a beautiful story, and I had a chance to be the lead in this thing, and that was a Hallmark movie, but it was a very high budget Hallmark movie, and really well done, and it got a lot of great response. I think it's still my mother's favorite. Honestly, I think she still loves that the most. And working with Vanessa Redgrave was
wow.
Yeah, right? So it was a super treat. Lots of big lessons I learned from her. I'm a very young actor still, right? So at that time, and so she, just watching her commitment and just so many amazing lessons to be learned from her. And I just love her for that. So it was a beautiful experience.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Hearties, I have to tell you, the first time I saw this gentleman was in 1995. I was 11 or 12, and it was a movie called Annie O. It was based on the story of Annie Oakley. And instead of shooting, they put it in a modern setting, and he was Wild Bill Harper. He was a basketball player, and he was pretty good. So were you really a basketball player? Were you that good, or was it shots?
Well, again, you're the combo deal. When I got hired for the job, I didn't get hired for my basketball skills. Let me tell you that. But
well, you covered it really well, because you looked really good on it.
Well, again, it was just like, hey, you're an actor. I had some sort of, you're a guy. It doesn't matter. You're a young person, guy or girl, and you just have a love for sport. And so I was enjoying sport, and I had a chance to play some basketball, which I didn't play in high school. So I felt like I kind of missed that boat a little bit in high school. I was probably too busy in the drama department, right? And
probably.
Right. And so they had a great, on-set coach, basketball coach, who was helping everyone. And I just loved learning the game, which I had no idea how to play it, but I got to learn how to play basketball because of Annie O. And amazing how quickly your skills can come along once you just dedicate yourself to something. And again, it's one of those things where an opportunity arose where I'd never would have played basketball, and here I do a movie and I get to learn how to play basketball, and ever since then I got a half decent shot. I gotta say, I still got a little something.
Nice.
It was a lot of fun.
So after seeing you in Annie O and Joan of Arc, and then you appear in When Calls the Heart, I went, oh, it's that guy.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then when you came on When Calls the Heart, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's Chad Willett. I remember him.
Aww.
And then I saw you in So You Said Yes, and that is still to this day one of my favorite Hallmark movies.
Really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because every one of the things that I love about it is every stereotype that almost happened didn't happen.
Huh.
Like the misunderstanding that always happens when you're talking to your mom, it doesn't happen because she pops up and you see her. And then there's an I love you in the middle of the movie. That never happens. And you kissed her in the middle of the movie. You know, all of those stereotypes that don't usually, that all of the stereotypes that kind of make a movie, you know, there's a kiss thrown in at the end,
the
and there isn't. The formula. That's a better word for it. So that was one of the things that I loved about it, is it broke so many of those formulas.
Well, that's nice to hear. I didn't know that. That's really nice to hear. I remember a quick little story from that. It was doing a yoga.
Please.
I had to do a yoga scene. And
I remember, yes.
Yeah, and you know,
in khaki pants and a polo shirt,
right? Yeah, and so I had to do this yoga scene, and it was a fun bantery scene between the two of us, just kind of going back and forth, and trying to do all these yoga poses, which I was having fun with it. I was pretending to be a guy who didn't know anything about yoga, so I was just trying to make stuff up as I was going along. And it was a nice physical scene as an actor to do, where you get to implement some physical comedy and pace, and just it's so enjoyable, you know.
All right, well, let's go to the topic that every Hardy wants to hear: When Calls the Heart. So yes, that you played a very, very powerful part with Adam Miller, and it was a character with a lot of backstory, and we found out that you have a lovely singing voice, because you played the guitar and sang in that episode. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, I remember.
What? Oh, you remember.
Oh, I remember. And, that's very, very sweet of you. And honestly, I don't think it's my voice.
Really?
I don't think so. I'm trying to remember back, but I don't have a good singing voice. And at least I don't think I do, and don't make me sing right now because I won't. And and I believe it was an interesting time, because it was like I did one on camera singing thing. Maybe I'm confusing it. So I did this show called Jack and Jill a long time ago. It was on the WBU, CW, whatever it's called, and and I had to play this guy, and he was singing, and you know, the guitar, the whole thing, and they dubbed my voice on that. So maybe I'm confusing the two, but I don't know if my voice was dubbed on When Calls the Heart. I sure hope it was.
Wow. Well, if it is dubbed, it sounded exactly like you.
Oh, okay.
And if it's not dubbed, then you did a great job.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Thank you. Let's just give the sound guy a lot of congratulations on that. He did a good job.
Yeah, a lot of credit on that one.
Yeah.
So in the episode, we find out that Jack, the Mountie, is kind of a closet painter. Do you have any hidden talents that most people don't see?
That's interesting. Do I have any hidden talents that most people would not see? No.
No? Do you play the guitar for? Do you play the guitar for real?
I do play a little guitar. It's not a hidden talent, but I do play a little guitar. That's not a talent. My style of playing. No, I don't really have anything that's really specific, that's completely different or shocking or whatever it may be. I think
you don't juggle, do you?
I do juggle a little bit.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Honestly, I think there's a little. I was playing around with poetry for a while, and and writing
Oh,
poems and such. And I feel like that's something that if I continue to do it, it may be that what you're talking about, a little hidden something or other.
yeah.
But
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Nothing that comes to mind at the moment.
Well, I'd say poetry would be a very good hidden talent, that because you're not going on a set and reading poetry in front of the camera. So that would be something that not many people know. So yeah,
True.
I'd say we count that.
Okay. All right. We'll count that one.
So obviously you are an actor that does a lot of research. So tell us about crafting Adam's character. Did you do research on PTSD or survivor's guilt, or how did you create Adam?
That's a great question. It was quite a while ago. It was like 6 years ago. And
Yeah, I'm asking you to take a big walk down memory lane.
yeah, and especially with the creative process, and it changes for every job you do, right? I mean,
Sure.
some jobs you really dig deep into stuff to try to discover what it is when it comes to research and such. And other jobs you feel like it's just right there in your wheelhouse.
Right.
So they change all the time. I don't have one strong path of this is how I do everything. It just doesn't work like that for me. But I remember with Adam, obviously the biggest challenge with Adam was I had to have a leg missing. And
yes,
I physically never.
I was actually going to ask you about that. So
yeah, so I mean, if this is, when it comes, my memory on that job was how am I going to pull this off? Is this going to be? Are they just going to allow me walk around and I have to pretend I have a leg missing and they'll cut it off with visual effects, or
right,
or what am I going to do? And then I got to set, and then they came up to me and said, "Here's your prosthetic leg," and it was literally a wooden leg in a leather cap to it and a strap around the back. And I was like, okay, but I have a leg, so yeah, you're gonna have to pull your leg up behind you and stick your knee into the top of it. And all of a sudden I was like, what? And so the show takes, I don't know how many days it took to shoot, maybe 6 days to shoot an episode or something. And like every day I had to stick my leg in that wooden prosthetic and tie it around the back and have the other leg just yanked up behind me.
Yeah.
And I have to learn how to walk like that through mud and snow and things like that. It wasn't just I was on some concrete. So
yeah,
that was one of the bigger challenges for that character for sure. But thankfully I had a beautiful gentleman by the name of Ian, who also had a prosthetic leg in real life, and he helped me with that. He was a real gentleman helping me with that. He taught me a lot. So shout out to Ian on that. And the emotional journey for Adam, I think we can all attach to having something lost in your life, something that was important, some sort of pain. And I don't think you have to dig too far to find that for everybody. We all have personal stories of pain. So I think as long as you can tap into that and keep it real, you can do justice for the character of Adam. Because his leg was missing, yes, but he'd lost his ability to believe in himself. And and therefore be able to provide for his family. And as a man, who was he now? Who was he with this missing piece of him emotionally as well?
Right.
And that, I think we can all kind of understand that. So I didn't have to go in and try to understand PTSD. I didn't go down that road. I just went down more of the tragic loss road and what that would truly feel like to have a tragic loss, and question your beliefs in the world and your faith in the world. Those were intriguing questions for me to ask myself.
Well, the performance was incredible. So that road that you took, oh, you're welcome. Yeah, that road that you took, it paid off. Have you ever had a life-changing experience? I mean, obviously, it doesn't have to be as dramatic as losing a leg, but Adam kind of harped on the idea of I'm not who I was, I'm a changed man. Have you ever had a life-changing experience that you feel made you a changed man, either for good or for tragic? And if it's too personal to talk about, of course you don't need to share. But
it's fine. There's been a couple. I mean, just most recently losing my father about 5 years ago. So that's a man losing his father is a hell of a journey to go on, and any man listening to this right now who has lost their father understands what that means.
Yeah,
as a woman losing her father as well, of course. But
well, yeah, but I get it.
But that was you all of a sudden you're looking at the world a little differently.
Yeah.
And, that was a life-changing moment for sure. And going through his sickness and such was a life-changing moment. And so that was pretty large. Before that, probably traveling. I traveled to India for a while, and
wow, that's life-changing.
Yeah, I had some pretty spiritual experiences there. And I was young. I was like 20 or something, and really trying to figure out who the hell I was. And India really, it just put a mirror up in front of you. Just, here you go. This is who you are. I'll throw you in the middle of something you've never experienced before in your life. You're going to walk these streets. You're going to be in situations you've never been in before. That's what India is. It's just like, it's the biggest culture shock ever to a white guy from, Western Canada to be thrown in the middle of India. And then, of course, you just make the realization that people are people, doesn't matter where you are in this world. And then, the faith of meeting such resilience. You look at India and you go, okay, it's just full of very poor people in desolate situations. But really, honestly, what I took from that was how happy everyone was. And the children are happy. The children are playing with a little, whatever. They have one bottle to kick around on the ground, living in amongst a bunch of monks. But they're having a great time,
Yep.
So, seeing the happiness, sometimes I feel like, not to get too preachy here, right? But sometimes I feel like,
no, it's fine.
We're so privileged. We take it all for granted out here in the Western world. And
it's true.
And just feel like, wow, we've got all and then if we lose something that we feel is important to us, it's pretty, India put a lot in perspective for me very early on. So that was a pretty big life-changing moment.
Yeah, that would be very much. So with your experience of playing Adam and kind of your backstory and your thought process with him, do you think when Adam went to the shack and when he disappeared, do you think that if Jack hadn't shown up, do you think that Adam was going to take his own life? Or do you think he just went out there to think? Because I know that's what Laurel was afraid of.
It's an interesting question, because I remember now that you take me back to that moment, and that was a big discussion on set, because
oh yeah,
it was like, my take as an actor was, I'm going to the darkest place possible for this guy, and that would be it, taking your own life. And I remember When Calls the Heart was going through a big transition at that time. There was a change in leadership and change of I think it was change in network and everything. It was a big change happening, and they were trying to figure out what was When Calls the Heart, what was going to be the tone, and and the way I was going with it wasn't necessarily going to be the tone of the show. And so I remember there being a big discussion, and so my take is, yes, he was going to probably take his own life very selfishly. But I don't believe the show, if you talk to the showrunner at that time, I don't believe that would be their opinion.
Okay. Makes sense. How much time did you have to get acquainted with your on-screen family before you guys did the shoot? Did you have time to discuss the backstory, Laurel and Adam's relationship prior to the hospital and all of that?
No.
How much time did you guys have?
There's not much time.
No.
You know how these things work. You kind of get
No.
thrown into it, and you just, you got to just kind of, shooting from the hip, and you just get.
Hi, I'm your wife.
Basically, Christine. Yeah, Christine.
Yeah.
And no, we didn't get a lot of time to rehearse and such. I wish it was more like a theatrical play, but it's just not. Time and just
right, yeah,
quick. And a lot of times, productions, they don't know who they're even hiring until just a few days prior to shooting. So you just don't get that time out of it. But that's okay. But Christine, lovely actress, and I thankfully she was there with me, and we had to support each other and go on that journey together, because it's such an intimate, emotional journey. For her as well. So it was nice that we could team up and support each other there. And I still see her once in a while. I run into her, like her kid plays hockey, and
good
hockey. So we see each other at the hockey arena, funny enough.
Oh, that's funny. That is so cool. Well, and your on-screen daughters really took to you, it seemed like.
Yeah. And, we didn't have a lot of scenes with them. I remember they were just here and there, and they were quite young. But I always love working with kids. I think it's just super fun, because they're just wide-eyed and excited, and it's just lovely.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Do you have a favorite moment or a favorite scene in the episode that left an impression on you, or that you particularly enjoyed filming, or one that just had a really funny blooper? Anything like that?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of funny bloopers going on, because it was a pretty dark show. That episode was pretty dark.
Yeah, it was a pretty dark episode. So
yeah, for me, I tend to try to stay in that a little bit when I'm working, when I know that I'm not the type of actor who just switches on and off, and I try to stay in the emotional spaces of the character when I'm on set working. So that's something Vanessa Redwood taught me, actually. She taught me that. I watched her go through that on The Locket, and really just her professionalism and her ability just blew my mind. So I take that from her. But I'm trying to think back now. The cabin scene, that was intense for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like getting out of, and it was a simple scene, but I remember being kind of important to me, and it was getting out of the wagon off the top and being introduced to the town again, but this time walking out with the missing leg, and seeing everybody in the crowd who were looking at me, and they were all excited to see me, and they didn't know I was missing a leg. And then you start to see the looks on their faces and how that affected them. And I just remember that for some reason just kind of hitting me. And I got to work with one of my best friends, Chayla, on that. And
I didn't know that she was one of your best friends. That's wonderful.
Yeah, Chayla's one of my best pals. And so it was lovely that I get to share the screen with her there and have her there. And I just remember that scene for some reason. That one sticks out for me.
Well, it's a sweet one. And Jolene is the first one to come up to you, because everybody's shocked with the leg. And then she's the first one to come up and show you that you're still her daddy, even though you need a little convincing.
Exactly. Yeah. So just so sweet.
Yeah.
And now that I have children, you look back at that and you just like, kids don't care. They just want their daddy.
No, it's exactly. They just want their daddy. So the day that you shot the cabin scene, it was just you and Dan on set, at least in front of the camera. Was all of that outdoors, or was any of it shot out on a soundstage? And what did you guys talk about between shots? Was there any big philosophical conversation? Because it was Dan's first lead. So I know that he really tried to stay in the zone as well. So
it was, and boy, what a lovely man he is. He's such a sweetheart. And that day was all shot outside in a little outside cabin.
Okay.
It was cold. They'd just gotten a bunch of snow, I think, at the time. It was just nasty conditions. And of course, I'm trying to stumble around.
Yeah, you can see your breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see your breath. So, wow, that must have been.
It was chilly and trying to keep the intensity going. And I just remember him being such a sweetheart. I just remember him being so supportive and also very complimentary and just very gracious and a very good leader. He was a very good leader for the show. I thought he had a good tone. He's Australian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sure is.
Yeah. So, Canadians and Australians tend to vibe each other. We tend to run into each other a lot on this planet when we're traveling around for some reason.
Right.
Yeah. So philosophical conversations, not that I remember. That was a while ago.
Right.
But I remember really enjoying working with him. He really stayed present, and it was just a nice treat to work with a young actor like Daniel.
Yeah. Would he drop the accent? Because obviously he sounds very Canadian in the show, and I didn't even know he was Australian until I looked him up.
From what I remember, he wouldn't drop the accent on set, which is very smart because
oh wow, yeah,
you need to keep it going the whole time. So I think that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So Casey, one of my co-hosts who couldn't be here tonight, her favorite moment is when Jolene runs to Adam at the end during the performance.
Yeah.
And
I thought about that as well.
Yeah, so she wanted to know what that moment was like for you guys, because there were a lot of emotions. I have to tell you, the first time that I watched it, I told you that I was a theater major and all that. So the performer in me said, "No, Jolene, stay there, finish the song." But then the daughter in me was like, "Okay, little girl, she thought her daddy was gone forever. Yes, go, run."
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
what was that? What was that like for you?
Well, it was as emotional as it came off. It was that they really set that moment up to be very impactful, very powerful. Mm-hmm. And I remember Brian Bird, I've read some stories about him talking about how this storyline, he really wanted to have a storyline where it was about a wounded warrior coming back type storyline. And so they integrated that, and they found a way to do that on this show. And it was to do with a miner coming back from an injury after an explosion and stuff like that. So that was the wounded warrior coming back to the town. And so, having the daughter run up and having the wounded warrior and the daughter meet together, you got to think it's that moment that we see all the time now on social media, where you see these kids who see their daddy coming home from war.
Yes.
And it's hard not to cry,
No.
And
I'm a sap.
Yeah.
So crying.
Yeah,
every
exactly. I mean,
time.
Thinking about it right now, it makes me kind of, a little sad.
A little misty.
Yeah, a little misty. So I think that's what Brian Burr was trying to recreate, and I think he did a nice job of it. And it was, it was powerful. It had me going.
Oh, it's such a beautiful moment seeing the two of you reconnecting and reunited, and then you start singing in her ear. It's just sweet. It's just a sweet, sweet moment.
Aww.
So do you think that Adam swallowed his pride and used the prosthetic leg that they collected the money to get for him? Because of course, when he got it, he got angry. You passed the hat on my behalf. I'm a charity case. And
right.
Kind of tossed it across the room. So do you think that he swallowed his pride and and use the prosthetic, because the next time we see you in season 2, you've got long pants on, so we can't tell.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, I forgot about that. No, he would definitely have swallowed his pride. And
oh, good for him.
Yeah, I definitely think so, because that's the whole point. I mean, you got to learn your lessons and learn from others. So, he would have used that. I mean, the generosity. How could he say no to that?
I don't know. I
I'm
don't
sure
know how
it'd be
he
a whole
could.
lot more comfortable as well.
Yeah. I'm sure it was, rather than that peg leg. I mean, I can only imagine walking on a tiny little knob like that.
Yeah. I remember we had to put.
I had surgery.
We had to put little pieces of rubber and
Go
stuff
ahead.
underneath it, because it was so slippery that we had to make sure it had good grip.
Oh man,
the thing would just slip out on me, and I'd go down.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. How many times did you go down? That must have been painful.
I don't know, just a few times, but all you need is once or twice.
Okay,
you don't want to go down again.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get this situated.
Yeah.
And then my focus was like, whoa, okay, let's stay upright.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, when I was in the third grade, I had surgery on my left foot in the beginning of the school year, and then I ended the school year by breaking my right foot. So I was one-legged for a long time that year. So
exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was 8 years old. So yeah, I can definitely empathize with being one-legged. So yeesh.
You're truly one-legged. I was just acting one-legged.
Well, I don't know. For all intents and purposes, with your leg hiked up behind you, I think you were pretty one-legged. So.
I guess there is that point. That's true.
Yeah. So what do you think happened to the Millers? Do you think that they moved away with the lumber company moving in, or do you think they stayed put and they're living happily ever after? What do you think?
I think it's a great question, and I would think that from all the community support, I think they would have stayed.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd move away from that once you've discovered it and understand how powerful community is. Why you'd push it away and move somewhere else,
Sure.
I think he's around. You just don't see him that often.
Oh, darn it all. I miss him. I will say I miss Adam. So, well, our last segment is Rosemary's rapid fire questions.
Oh.
So this is just kind of a fun teen beat sort of thing.
Oh, fun.
So what was your favorite set or location on When Calls the Heart when you filmed?
Right. Favorite. It would have to be the cabin for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Outside of your own character, if you could play somebody else existing on the show, who would you want to be?
Whoa. I don't have the answer to that right now. Go next question. Go.
Okay. All right. Next question. What modern convenience would you take back to 1910 with you if you were time traveling?
Oh, wow. I would take back electric wheelchair.
That's a good one. Okay, so the next one is, who would you rather work for? I don't know if you've been keeping up with the show currently, but we have some new business owners in town. And so you remember Mr. Gowan, and he now has a petroleum company. So would you rather work for Gowan in the petroleum company, Lee in the lumber mill? There's a new saloon owner named Lucas. So would you like to work for Lucas in the saloon, Mr. Yost in the mercantile, or Fiona at the telephone?
Well, I've always wanted to work at a bar. So I'm going to go to the saloon and hang out there.
All right. He's going to work for Lucas. All right. Well, thank you so much, Chad. We really appreciate this. Now, is there any project coming up that we can watch out to support you in? Are you doing anything currently that we can look for?
Yeah, I'm currently working right now, and I can't tell you the name of it, but it's on ABC.
Okay.
And it'll be out, I think the first episode for me will come out December, I think 15th, in and around. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's mid-December sometime. So on ABC, mid-December, an unknown show will be on air.
We will watch out for it. Is there any social media that you'd like to shout out so we can chat with you, see what you're up to?
I have the standards, there's the Instagram and there's Twitter and Facebook. I'm there. If you want to find me, feel free to reach out, say hello. I'm around on them. I'm not on them all the time, but I'm on them enough. So, feel free to reach out with any questions.
All right. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for making time in your busy schedule to talk with us. And Hearties, have a marvelous day and a marvelous week. We'll catch you next time. And we're in December, so Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you. It's been a great time. And I love the hat. Merry Christmas.
Oh, thank you so much. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks so much for joining us on Hearties Hotline. For more juicy details and to see what's coming up, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Hearties Hotline. And we drop an episode every Wednesday, so we'll see you then. Until next time.